So Blake Snyder is the man. He's telling you he is a successful writer. He's had much success in selling scripts, much success in teaching his style of writing to other people. And in his opinion, the great number of books that have been written on the subject of screenplay writing have been esoteric, excessively academic, kind of hard to relate to, and he sees that as a problem that he's solving with this book, Save the Cat. He says that he's going to use language that's easy to understand, lingo whom the professionals in the industry actually use, and on top of that he's going to give you a realistic kind of account of how things get done and what the real expectations are for somebody to make it. So he opens up this book with exactly, okay, why am I writing it? He says, well, there's two big reasons. Number one, he says that he's getting toward the end of his career and he is ready to give away the secrets, so to speak. That might be pushing it a little bit too hard, but for somebody that's had a full career, has learned a whole lot, he sees that the real bits of knowledge that would help people are actually not in circulation. He wants to be the guy to offer people what he thinks they need. And not only that, to offer them in a way using language that's easy to understand. And then on top of that, he says something that's very interesting. One of the things that Blake Snyder is aiming to accomplish in this book is trying to, as it were, help writers to go back and reestablish deep connection with the fundamentals of storytelling. There's a whole lot that gets said in the first chapter, but I'll try to boil it down like this. He says that there is this very, very strange phenomenon. Not strange, it makes actually financial sense. There's this phenomenon where Hollywood will pump out half-assed, half-written stories, just hype the bejesus out of it with media and advertisement, place all their eggs in one basket, which is to say opening weekend, and then not give a damn about the subsequent weekends or you know, the general failure of the movie. They're peddling crap films, aiming to get most of their cash through their opening weekend through advertisement. They're not in the business of actually producing good stories. And he says that one of the reasons about that is because there seem to be fundamentals in story structure that for some reason seems to be getting ignored. And so one of the things he's making a point in this book is trying to reestablish what those fundamentals are, what they look like, how to apply them, and the qualitative difference that these principles make. Now, the flagship example, right, is the very title of the book. It's called Save the Cat. In the very beginning, in the introduction, after he introduces himself and gives you his resume, he gives you really what I think is a clear example. Now, he references this movie. I'm sorry, I don't know the title of it, but it's with Al Pacino in it. And hold on, I feel like I want to... Yeah, it's from Sea of Love. Sea of Love with Al Pacino. Long story short, there's this initial scene that the audience has with Al Pacino's main character when Al Pacino, when he does something for somebody else, he does something good for somebody else, and he does something good for somebody else in a way that's cool. Al Pacino plays a cop. He's in the middle of a sting operation. He sees a criminal with his son, and Al Pacino lets the criminal go away, or he cuts the criminal slack because the criminal happens to be with his son. But he lands a cool line saying, "Don't worry, I'll catch you later." Obviously a pun. And Blake Snyder suggests that that's a great example of an initial... what's the word? When you're first introduced to a character, that's an example of when a movie manages that well, where you like the character as a result of when you initially meet them. And he calls that initial scene, that introductory relationship establishing scene as a save the cat moment. When the hero does something great or good that tells you, the viewer, who they are, shows you why they're likable, okay? And then that acts as the kind of hook for you as an audience member to like the character and are then willing to be a companion to the character for the duration of the movie and root for them to win. Very, very general thing, right? But nonetheless, giving it a name, explaining it, this serves as one example of what this book aims to do. There's a host of fundamentals, right, that Blake is saying Hollywood is, or writers in general, are sometimes, their work suffers as a result of them not using it, and he thinks it's because it's not, because these ideas have not been solidified or crystallized enough in the art of storytelling. And so that's one of his shticks, is that he wants to help writers get clear about some of the fundamentals. And so that's chapter 1. Oh, excuse me, that's just the introduction. So the introduction is who Blake Snyder is, a successful writer, a guy who's had success teaching other people, and he gives that as his credibility as to why you should listen to him and why this book is worth reading. And then on top of that, he's going to explain to you using lingo that the industry uses. And then lastly, he points out a problem in Hollywood where writers are missing out on some fundamentals, a problem whose solution are the principles that are covered in this book. And so it's pretty exciting, I think. Chapter 1 is what follows after this, and it's going to be a talk about the log line, which has a tremendous amount of information. Very simple idea, reducing a story or a plot to a singular problem, condensed in one sentence, and then how much information not only a writer, but a studio executive, a producer, an actor, a marketer, the information that these people can extract from that single sentence about how to go about their work and how to go about producing the film. There's a whole lot to say about it. Chapter 1's really interesting, and that's what we'll cover next. So that was a brief introduction of the introduction, a brief review, or a brief reconstruction of the introduction, and then chapter 1 will go into log lines, and then it's got a lot of great things into it. So stick around for that. Thanks for tuning in. Comments, questions, concerns, thanks for tuning in, guys. Movies and stories are back. This channel is going to be active from here on out. Very excited. Comment, question, concern, leave it in the comment section, whatever is on your mind. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Bye.